Hello everyone, welcome back. Here we are, back again to work on another incredible macrame project. I thought that today we could create a little easy macrame banner. Maybe you could string it across your fireplace. Maybe you could hang it above a really cute doorway in your home. Just another really fun way to add layers and warmth into your home this fall. Okay, so what you're going to need today are cotton cord, right? Cotton cord, here is my skein of cotton cord. I purchased this skein of cotton cord at Hobby Lobby, $4.99 for this size of skein. You can use your 40% off coupon, save a lot of money on that. And don't forget my friend Shotbury Regan, who sells beautiful soft cotton macrame cord that you could purchase that's a lot easier on your hands. You also will need, if you're going to create it in the style that I did with these fun little wooden beads as spacers, these wooden beads I purchased in the craft section at Hobby Lobby. You could certainly paint these if you'd like to kind of make the wood sort of match the wood in your home, and then use a paper towel and kind of wipe off any excess paint, of course letting that dry in between. So those are really cool, only $1.99 in the craft section, and these do go on sale in the alternating weeks. Unknown fact, I used to work there at a little Hobby Lobby. And then I have 8 3-foot lengths cut of my cotton macrame cord. And so any ruler you have at home, just cutting off 8 lengths that are 3 foot long each. The length of your banner is really up to you, depending on what sort of space that you're trying to cover, or you want it to stretch across. I have put, you call these little pennants, right? I have put 5 of them on mine, on my finished project. The one we're going to work right now would make 6, but you could make it as long as you needed to. But another sort of length you would need to cut is the one that holds your work, right? The one that holds your work. And mine is 6 foot long, okay? So when I say that you need 8 that are 3 foot long, that's for each one of the little pennants that you will work up for this project. As we're together today, we are actually only going to be making 1, because the way that you kind of finish off your work is entirely up to you. Plus it would get very boring if you watched me make 72 of the same exact design. Okay, so I have a space kind of open here for me to work my next little pennant on. I actually had this one strung across a scaffold that seems to be a permanent fixture in my home. I need you to hold on for just 1 minute. Guess what I forgot? Tape. All right, so like I said, if this is kind of connected to some sort of space, right? Like I said, I have this in my house. It was actually strung across a scaffold. You wouldn't need to tape it, but to work in front of you today, let's make sure this is straight for you, sort of straight. I'm going to tape it onto my table so it's nice and sort of sturdy, and we'll hope this works. So I'm just using some pieces of masking tape, and I'm securing that to my table here by giving it a nice massage. There are many ways that you could do this, right? So I have 2 wooden beads neighboring each one of these little pennants. I also thought how cute and playful would it be if there were also like these knots kind of throughout that would hold everything in place. The way that you do what you do is up to you. So here I have my secured little space for working a little pennant in front of you. Okay, so I'm now going to take my 3-foot cut pieces and I'm going to even them out just like we have with every other project, so their little tails are together, and kind of pulling them up nice and straight. So I have a loop at the top, right? The loop goes over whatever you're connecting it to. In our last video, we connected it to a hanger to make our coaster. This time we're connecting it to the sort of cord in the banner or the pennant. So now I'm going to take it and I'm going to wrap it over. And I put my fingers through. Whoop! And then I pinch. And then I pull my tails. Zoop! Through the loop. Depending on what type of cotton cord you have, some of it is a little more sort of hard to manipulate and some of it is softer. Like I said, if you bought it from Angela Puglia with Brie Regan, it's very soft and it lays just how you want it to lay. And this kind of cheaper cotton cord from Hobby Lobby is a little rough. So I'm putting on number 2. We have 8 of these that are 3 foot in length. Opening up, pulling the tails through the loop, snugging it on. So he has a little neighbor. Hey, friend. Number 3, evening out my ends, taking my loop, placing it over, slipping it under, taking my fingers, zoop, and pulling them whoop, through the loop. If it helps for you to make sound effects, you certainly should do so. So in those kind of spaces in between my pennants each time, I would slip a bead on. So that's what you have there. I've got 4 on, 4 more to go. In this project, we're using 3 sort of knots, the lark's head to connect it. Square knots, which is what we used in our coaster project, and then double half hitches to kind of finish everything off with this really fun kind of heavy diagonal line. I've got 5, evening out my tails, making my loop, placing it over the cord that is my holding cord for the whole project. Snugging it up. Okay, 2 more to go. Loop, open, pull your tails through, and my last one, evening my tails. My last one through. Okay, now if you watch the coaster video, the way that this project starts is very, very similar in that we're going to make square knots across the whole top. And we will create descending square knots through to make sort of this sort of triangular kind of motif, if you will. So you need 4. Forward 4, cord over, slip it through to the back, snug it right up to the top this time, right? We don't need any space. Before we were trying to create an opening for tassels to be created. This time we don't need that. Backward 4, over, through to the back, snug it up, nice and tight. Push them off to the side. Next 4, 2 centers, forwards 4, cord over, through the back, through the left hole, snug it up. Holding those tails simultaneously, we are also pulling both sides. It's a lot, but it makes your work look nice. Forwards 4, over the center 2, back through the back and through the left hole first. Backward 4, Okay. Forwards 4. I hope that my video isn't reversing my knots for you. I know that can get confusing. Okie dokie. Nice and snug. Okay. So, just like we did before, we're going to throw out our side 2, whoop, and then we're going to go on to our next 4 for row 2. Forwards 4, backwards 4. First row had 4 square knots. Second row has 3 square knots. Third row has 2 square knots, descending all the way down. And that creates each of your little pendants for your banner, however many you decide to make it fit across the space that you want it to extend from. Now that we're not doing Facebook Live, I'm uploading my videos to YouTube, and so we've got like a 15-minute max. And so that's why I'm breaking these videos into little parts for you. Okay, here's our second row. Last square knot for that row. Okay. This time, right, get rid of those 2, get rid of those 2. Now I'm going to work these 4. Row 3 has 2 square knots. Nice and tight. I always think it's funny whether you're working on knitting or macrame or crochet to see maybe how you felt in a day, and that was reflected in your work, right? So this one to me looks a little bit wider than these, and it's because, oh, I was working really tight that day. Maybe it had to do with the stress that I was working out. And that's beautiful, right? That art can help us process how we're feeling. Okay, 2 square knots on this row. Okay, and my last row, if we bring them all together, right? 2 from the first one, 2 from the second one, 2 from the third one. Okay, now we're into our last row, which only needs 4, right? Every time. We're using 4 to create the square knot, backward 4, cord over, through the back, snug it up. Okay. Now, if you're ever trying to kind of trick your viewer, right? Art is an illusion, it's a trick, that my work seems more similar today to what it seemed, you know, when I was working on those other ones. You just manipulate it, right? So if I squish it together, I now have the illusion that it is more similar to the work I did here. Okay, now we're ready to create those kind of nice diagonal, sort of hard rows that develop this illusion of kind of closure, right, on this project. So I'm going to stop this video, and in our second sort of section, we're going to talk about finishing work and adding in those double half hitches.